February 2019 was a brutal and horrific month for Christians around the world. Christians suffered targeted, violent attacks for their faith on 4 continents: Europe, South America, and especially in Africa and Asia. This is a list of just some of the violent and discriminatory persecution that Christians around the world faced during February. On February 9th, an Uzbek mother named Umida was slaughtered by her husband for converting to Christianity from Islam. She was attempting to flee Uzbekistan to Istanbul to join Christian friends when her husband stopped her at the airport and slit her throat. She had previously been locked in her home and prevented from seeing her son after being discovered with a Bible. The same day, Pastor Lider Molina in Colombia was assassinated by communist militants after leaving a church. In Burkina Faso, a Spanish priest named Antonio Cesar Fernandez was assassinated in a jihadi attack, along with 4 custom officers. In Ireland, vandals broke into St. Michan's Church in Dublin, desecrating corpses kept within. The skull of an 800-year-old mummy was stolen, while the head of a 400-year-old nun was turned 180 degrees. In Kenya, a Christian mother from Somalia was brutally beaten and raped by Somali Muslims. In Germany, an Iraqi Christian was attacked in Berlin by a Muslim with knives because of his cross tattoos. Thankfully, the Christian managed to escape and survived the attack. In Sweden, reports came out that Christian asylum seekers were being asked questions to determine whether or not they were really Christian. Those who were deemed fake Christians had their applications rejected. This test went viral, and over 100,000 people, including pastors, bishops, and theologians, participated. Only 300 scored more than 60%. This sparked outrage, as the test was deemed inaccurate in determining who was truly Christian, considering it asked participants to quote certain verses or explain complex doctrinal differences between denominations. In Iran, 8 Iranian converts to Christianity were arrested after a raid on their church in the city of Rasht. In Tajikistan, a new law was implemented banning children from attending religious services, and 5,000 calendars with Bible verses on them were burned. In China, 22 Christians from one of the largest churches in Sichuan province were detained over Chinese New Year, and faced criminal charges simply because they want to openly practice their faith. In Ethiopia, 13 churches were torched after false rumors that a mosque was burned, and an ethnic Somali Christian in the country was forced to flee his home because of his faith. In India, a horrific attack took place on February 11th when a father of 5 was beheaded on the street by Maoist rebels in Odisha state. He had previously been threatened with death by Hindus, and was found with his throat cut and head crushed by a heavy object. The next day, a Christian in the neighboring Chhattisgarh state was shot to death by Maoist rebels for leaving his animist religion. Also in February, a statue of the Virgin Mary was torched in the state of Madhya Pradesh. In Pakistan, Christian mother Asia Bibi, who had been in jail for 9 years for blasphemy, was moved to a secure area to protect her from Muslim radicals, but was banned from leaving the country. In the Swabi district of northern Pakistan, the district council passed a resolution that stated only Christians should be forced to do menial jobs in hospitals. On February 19th, a mob of enraged Muslims attacked a Christian neighborhood in Karachi following false blasphemy accusations against 4 women. 200 Christian families were forced to flee. Also in Pakistan, a barbaric attack took place on a young Christian student in which he was beaten by 5 classmates before being stabbed in the stomach, slicing his kidney in 2. In Turkey, an Armenian church was desecrated with racist and hateful speech in English and Arabic. This comes on the 104th year anniversary marking the beginning of the Armenian genocide, in which the Armenian people were nearly eradicated by the Ottoman Empire. In France, dozens of churches were vandalized, with Eucharists being scattered, statues smashed, tabernacles knocked down, altar cloths burned, crosses torn down, and even the use of feces to draw a crucifix on the wall. Reports came out that approximately 2 churches in France are vandalized every single day. Finally, in Nigeria, several massacres against the Christians in the north took place. On February 10th, Fulani herdsmen attacked Angwinbard, slaughtering 10 Catholics along with an unborn child. 2 days later, another Muslim attack, this time in a church wedding reception, left 12 dead. And lastly, on February 26th, at least 32 more Christians were slaughtered after Fulani herdsmen shot up their church building. Please pray for our brothers and sisters suffering from all forms of persecution around the world. Pray especially for those in Nigeria, who face repeated massacres on a weekly basis and receive little assistance from their government and almost no support from outside Nigeria. The current state of affairs for Christians in northern Nigeria is escalating to genocidal levels.